don't understand why you're 40 years old playing the game still. So.
Well, I mean, what game do you think you're going to be playing when you're 40? When do you think you're going to stop playing games? What's the age? What's the cutoff age?
When you're out of high school and college.
You're a high school kid?
Yeah, I'm in high school. Yeah.
How old are you?
Why does it matter?
Well, I mean, you foresee yourself in the future quitting something you love, like video games? Do you not love video games? You just cruise through it.
I mean, I think it's a little bit of a waste of time when you're that old. But...
Well, how do you know? You're not old yet. I mean, I can think of probably reasons that video games would be a waste of time for a high school kid, too. Do you have a 4.0? Are you in honor classes to get more than a 4.0?
No, but...
You know what I'm saying? There's more things you could be doing to improve your life than playing video games, too, right?
Yeah, you can study and not play games.
Hey, just recreation, man. Having fun. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
All right, then.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Arcade. Yes, a little bit of a different thing going on. I have decided that, at least for now, I'm just gonna show my face. I've done this on the internet before, not a big deal. And Vivian is right there. She is gonna be my AI assistant. So if I have anything I want to ask her, I can just have her do that. So let me just tell Vivian to say hi to everybody. So hey, Viv, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to virtually meet all of you.
Vivian's voice sounds like,
how's everyone doing today?
It's very exciting.
It's just the robot AI voice, but I know I have a friend that I still talk to occasionally. He's a pretty smart guy, lives in the northern part of Alberta. His name is Nephanor, and he's got this. He's an alien on the internets, and he has AI bots and understands them pretty well. So I'm gonna have him help me out with this because I paid for ChatGPT to use with my arcade machine, which is another bot. And what I want to do is be able to because I have all these custom voices too. So what I want to be able to do is use a custom voice for Vivian that sounds more like what I think her voice should sound like. And yeah, but anyway, so everybody say hello to Vivian. Jojo's not here, so she's gonna have to do. And hello, John. And we also have a special guest that you guys can't see because I don't have room for his camera on my already cluttered screen. Ryan,
actually,
welcome.
You can't see him. He's in the corner of your corner.
He's in the corner. Oh well, in the vertical. Yes, that's right. He is. I could pop him above you if your head's gonna be that low.
Yeah. Go for it.
So
or you can put him in front of the "Be Awesome as Always" or "Be Awesome Today" sign. Yeah, we'll make it work.
Yeah, I'm squeezing it in here, so I'll pop him in the top. This will be a temporary solution. There you go. There he is. That's Ryan. Hi, Ryan. Welcome to the show.
Well,
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I don't usually sound like this. I'm a bit ill at the moment. I usually don't pop on from one show to another, but the ending of the last show I was on, Badger, was so chaotic that I was considering, Badger, Honey Badger Arcade is such a talented creator. I thought, why not invite him here to unsink the Titanic? Because the host, he had lost his signal, he suffered a power cut. He had to go outside on the street with his phone to come back in and then end the show. But it's great to be here. Every cloud has a silver lining, that sort of thing. And fingers crossed, we'll have a good talk. For me, a solid hour, because you know how schedules are. And my goodness, 5 years of really done something to that lady. I don't know whether I'm pointing the right way or not. I don't know. New system for me.
I'm not displaying it yet, but I'm going to. Right now, it's just us and the live chat because I'm.
I was like, what's wrong with Viv? She doesn't look a day over 10 years ago. But that's not who you're talking about.
Yeah, she's one of those vampires that lives for 1,000 years and still looks like a young girl. Okay, so. Yeah, so we got a bit of a bigger panel than normal, and I only have a small number of topics though because I want to go through the rest of this Kim Belair XOXO Festival talk that she did. So we're gonna jump right into that and watch some of it. Now, my channel's too small that I'm not worried about things like copyright, so I'm not concerned about going over the. Normally, people say 20-second limit. I don't really care. Like you can copyright claim the video, whatever. XO fest. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the reaction. And let me pop your camera back in here and then find a spot for it on my screen. So you're gonna take up this spot, make it a little bit smaller because we don't really need to see all of Kim Belair's video. So
No.
all right.
And
if
that
you're
would be
watching
transformative. So
yes, that's right. It would be transformed. Well, I'm hoping that that's what this counts as. So if you guys are watching on us right now, please consider giving this a like. It helps the video reach more people, and a sub if you are interested. Oh, I wanted to tell you before we get into this, let me come back. Let's bring this back for a second. Last night I did a stream where I spoke to at length the development team Cult Games, or yeah, I think it's just called Cult Games. Cult spelled with a KVLT, and they are the developers of a game called The Great Rebellion, which I did a little stream of once. I'm going to be doing more as it goes on. I thought it was a really great conversation. If you missed it, I highly recommend you check it out. Those guys are extremely cool, very based, and it was a good combo. And I'm hoping, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm hoping we're going to do more content together because I want to help, all these smaller developers like, network and reach people. I even suggested that, maybe there's like larger game streamers that are kind of countercultural or dissident or whatever, that they stream that game. So because I think it'd be a lot of fun, and it's got a good sense of humor, and it's got a fantastic soundtrack, which is playing right now in the background of this video. I have it playing pretty low so it doesn't like crowd. But yeah, check out the last stream I did. It was last night, and it was an interview with two of the guys on the team over at Cult Games. All right. I feel like I've wasted enough time. So let's get into Kim Belair's thing. We're about 10 minutes in, and
10:27 was where I had it, but we can start at 10.
I'll start it at 10. And we'll start from there, and we'll just let's just pause and respond as we go.
That we were a punchline, but any defenders were really shouted down quite quickly. And in moments when this movement couldn't dig up like another reason to attack us, they would just kind of move on to other groups who they perceived to be like us, all while doing the work of erasing all of those people's and our actual jobs and interest, and papering over it with kind of that rallying cry of far right supremacy.
So what does it mean? How are they being erased? Like you have to pay attention to the language they use, okay? Like they're erasing us, they're attacking us, they're like chasing us off the internet, whatever. None of this is true. Like it's your decision how you cope with it. And frankly, most people that have the largest voices are just criticizing the quality of your product. They're not even attacking you personally.
Right. I personally think, my good man, that what she is truly referring to, what Kim Belair is referring to, is what I like to call narrative control. Without that narrative under their control, they feel like that everything they're related to is losing control, is being erased, and their legacies are being clouded. Now, I don't usually start off a sentence by being serious, so let's transform it with a bit of a comedy bit. This is what I think of Kim Belair, if you can all see me.
Yes.
That's what I think of her. I wouldn't blow my nose on her. That's how insane she is, yes.
Right. If any of you guys want to send us a comment, you can use a super chat Rumble rant to do so, and I will definitely prioritize your comments. But I'm also looking at the chat in case somebody says something particularly profound that I like, and I might display it on the screen. Like here's one from Norwegian Black Templar. It says exactly, people like Kim Belair are liars and con artists. Call them what they are. And Mr. 0303 says, I fart in her general direction. Okay, let's listen to more.
DEI.
Oh yeah, by the way, she mentions didn't she mention far right supremacy? This is another part of what you were talking about, the narrative framing. It's all about that. Like they set up the dominoes with all of their little talking points. They lay out all their little mines in the minefield, and then or they build up the straw man, what their opponents are doing, what their opponents represent, and then they knock it down with their like arguments, and then people clap like seals. So that's kind of, and then the more of that they get, I guess like the more up their own ass their heads go.
Right.
And as ridiculous and stupid as it all was, I actually was not prepared for the escalation of it when noted buffoon and Twitter CEO Elon Musk decided that he would chime in with his very cool thoughts.
So Elon Musk, probably, like, is he the richest man in the world? Let me ask you.
He's officially, and I use that with an asterisk,
Yeah.
he is officially the richest man in the world, but some people prefer not to have their wealth showcased. Now, I remember when, I don't know if I'm pointing in the right direction, as John is texting Kim Belair right now, but
Well,
I was very surprised when Elon chimed in regarding this whole situation, because I remember I was one of the first people to actually talk to Kabrutus. I had a good talk with him on Hypnotic Saturday Night Hypnosis. Then a few days later, I managed to have him on Reality Based. I think it was 3 days before Elon's tweet. And it surprised me that the whole Sweet Baby Inc. situation, their connection to Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, to me was the straw that broke the camel's back and ignited the whole Gamergate 2 phenomenon. Now we all know that Elon is a very busy man, ruling the world and flying spaceships practically, to quote Uncle Ruckus. But I will say, in regards to what he says, he's completely on point in this statement, and hopefully by that date next year, by March 16th, 2025, hopefully SBI will go the way of the dinosaur, and we can all raise a glass to that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, I don't see how they're going to be long for this world, especially with the recent moves I jokingly equated their website to a pedo van, Ryan, in my last thumbnail. And, it doesn't matter what color, a pedo van,
PDF
I thought
file
you said
van.
a band.
Yeah, no. But I'll show you the
That's
image
dust
later
porn.
on. But it is one of those things where it's like, it doesn't matter how many times you paint the pedo van or what color you paint it, people still know what it is, clearly. And so, they're so compromised now and just kind of limping along at this stage that it's not going to take much for them to be completely dissolved. And will they filter out into other companies? Yes, unfortunately. And so we'll have to keep an eye on, where they're going. But SBI as an entity, its agency is pretty much it's over and done with.
It's a game of whack-a-mole, ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, and that is why there is a place for content creators such as ourselves, especially the criminally underrated ones like John, like Honey Badger, who can make names for themselves, basically doing whack-a-mole with all of these agents of the entertainment establishment, no matter what they call themselves. So this isn't going to be easy, folks, but nothing good ever comes easy.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, I've been ranting about this beast for a decade, and I'm gonna do it for another decade if I have to. Ultimately, we are not fighting people; we are fighting an ideology, and that is a harder thing to kill. Not that I want to kill anybody. Don't get this the wrong way, but So I just want to comment on this. So first of all, it's extremely arrogant for Kim Belair to presume that Elon Musk is rolling and tossing and turning in bed because of the existence of DEI and ESG and companies like Sweet Baby Inc. I think that him making a post is probably about as much energy as he needs to expend And it is validating for us because he's not lying. He's telling the truth.
Right.
He says Sweet Baby Inc. is an evil blight on the gaming industry. All they do is make games terrible and try to cancel people. They cannot go broke soon enough. And where did he get the idea of canceling people from? Well, they literally tried to cancel Cabrutus Rambo. And I had him on my show when that happened, and he was willing to come on. I mean, he was doing the rounds. He was so tired. But yeah, and who was it that did that? It was Chris Kindred, who was an employee there. Speaking of Chris Kindred, he's been fired. So there must have been a reason for it. I wonder what it is that he did to cause this. Now, I want to point out. I want to talk a little bit about Chris Kindred being fired from Sweet Baby. This does not absolve Sweet Baby Inc. of anything. It just means that it's you know what it's like. So I'm going to show you, what my a little bit about my beliefs in American politics. It's exactly what is happening between the Biden campaign and Kamala Harris. The Biden campaign was Biden was attacked, or he was demonized and thrown under the bus by Kamala Harris when they were both running for president, like when they were both nominees. She made terrible accusations. He didn't like her. He doesn't like her at all. But he felt that he had to work with her because he needed to cash in on that, DEI,
ethnically beige.
Yeah, well,
the
Summer of Love happened, and he said, I want to get a woman. But originally, Biden didn't want Kamala Harris. He wanted Pocahontas. He wanted Elizabeth Warren. But they were like, Elizabeth Warren's too white. And so you're just gonna have to have Kamala Harris. The Democrat party basically pushed that on him, and they don't like each other at all. And then when he absolutely collapsed in on himself during the debate with Trump, they were like, this guy's got to go. And so they got rid of him. They pulled a coup. They pulled him out of there, and they put Kamala in his place because they're still banking on this identity politics thing to get him in. And now the Biden team is doing damage to Kamala's campaign. When Biden put that MAGA hat on, a lot of people think that he was having a senior moment, but I think that was
calculated.
I think it was calculated. And so what I'm saying is that these people, they don't like each other. They're backstabbers. They're hypocrites. They will throw each other under the bus if it will benefit them. And I think that what happened to Chris Kindred is exactly the same thing. He basically did something that was not bad, morally, by trying to dox and destroy Cabrutus Rambo's account and get him canceled or whatever. Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't care about that. They have no morals. They only have goals. They only have objectives. So they were like, this guy's bad for us because we're trying to do something and he is harming our brand. You see what I'm saying? There's a difference between this is wrong and this is bad for us. So they got rid of him because he was bad for them. And that just shows you that they have no principles. So
I'm still surprised to this day that is a man.
This is another thing too. I don't know if people are getting this, but for any of you brothers in the audience, okay, and I as a Puerto Rican, I count myself among you in a way. Have you noticed how emasculated black men have been in video games for a long time? When I played Space Marine 2 and they have the black dude on your team, I was like, dude, I miss this guy. This guy, was it the sergeant from Halo, who is essentially Apone from Aliens? Is he a sergeant, or I think he's a sergeant, right? Or maybe a colonel or something. I don't know. There's a guy in the Halo games. It's your superior officer. He's a black guy that probably chomps on cigars. Like Carl Weathers, these kind of black men. You don't see them. They're all hyper feminized, and they call that inclusion because the real thing they dislike is masculinity. It's not actually white people as much. It's men. They hate anything masculine. Gear from War. No.
Gears
Dom,
of War.
I think. No. There's a black guy in Halo and in Gears of War. Yeah.
Yep.
Coltrane, right?
Coltrane. Yes.
Yeah. Coltrane takes what he wants. Anyway, I'm just, as an aside, I just thought it was a weird thing, a phenomenon that I'm seeing.
It looks like. I mean, Chris Kindred looks like a race swap version of Alyssa Mercante. I will say that.
Yeah, and he's got that haircut too.
Hmm.
What's with that haircut?
Who are you
Okay.
texting, John?
I'm
Very
actually
rude.
keeping track of the chat. I
Very
just do it
rude.
through my phone because I find it easier than
It's
trying
kind
to.
of rude, isn't it?
Yeah,
No, I'm
I
kidding.
know.
I'm kidding. It's okay.
Yeah. Normally you don't even see that I'm doing this because usually it's problematic white guy. But we've broken the fourth wall today.
Got to make sure your server doesn't blow up because that keeps running like 24 hours a day. It's insane.
Indeed, yes. I need to do like a telethon so people can actually help me like pay for new equipment.
I got a message I want to read out. It's not a super chat or anything, but
Sure,
Teal Deer is a friend of the channel. What's up, brother? And he says, Kim Belair will be another case. She'll get heat in public, fail upwards into a behind-the-scenes corporate advisor role, making rounds all through the industry with her victim cred. Yes, 100%.
And that's where she came from, was Ubisoft. So I wouldn't be surprised if they, once they do their restructuring, bring her back into the fold.
Yep. And yeah, no, that's exactly what happened. Like when, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I want to watch more of the video, but when Anita Sarkeesian closed down her website, Feminist Frequency, and her YouTube channel, there were all these anti-woke content creators going, yeah, like the quartering and stuff. And they were like, yay, she's gone. And I'm like, no, she's not gone. She got the job she wanted. Like she's working in the industry now. This is literally a victory. And the problem isn't that, that you could point out her hypocrisy or her lack of logic, like Thunderfoot, who's this very popular science YouTuber that completely lost his mind when Trump got elected. But anyway, when he was sane, he made a whole bunch of videos about Anita. He kept making videos about her. And he was probably the most prolific, counter creative person making videos to debunk her. And it didn't matter because the problem is that the people in the industry agree with her fundamentally, and that's why it succeeds.
Yeah, it's institutional. That's the edge that our opposition have, unfortunately, because if they didn't have that, then in terms of sheer talent, they would be completely crippled.
Remember, they gave Anita and Zoe Quinn a seat at the United Nations to complain about online harassment, and they were asking for censorship effectively. Now, of course, I mean it happened not through government action, but the big tech companies, were in fact willing to support them, and in fact, Zoe Quinn ended up working, kind of at Twitter, as part of a team of people. But I digress into a lot of things. This was a problem, but the main problem is that again, it's the ideology. It's fundamentally the companies agree, and the only thing that's really going to have any effect is if they go broke. You have to tell them 100%, I'm not supporting you, right? So that's the only thing you have. But okay, let's play some more. That's some deep GG lore for you guys.
Yeah.
Come on, here we go.
Some very cool, very good thoughts in there. Lots to think about.
It's ironic, haha, isn't that ridiculous? And then the audience is like, ha, it is, isn't it? You guys know that what you're doing is legit a blight. One of the people at your company said that we have to burn the games industry to the ground. How is it not a blight? I mean,
well, they believe that it's better to be morally correct than factually accurate. So
yeah, right, and then of course they get to decide what it means to be morally correct.
This was hard the whole time. Not since the beginning, it wasn't great, but we were receiving countless emails, all this constant hate. It was targeted enough to feel disconcerting, even when it was kind of silly, and it was also kind of drowning out the support. But when Elon chimed in,
Notice that she claims all of these things, and she has a giant screen with a PowerPoint, but doesn't actually show us any evidence of emails that she received.
That is notable of Gamergate 2, because in the original one, those who were a problem for the establishment were showcased. I mean, folks like Sargon, folks like Thunderfoot, folks like Razorfist and Milo Yiannopoulos, they were, in a sense, exposed. But not this time, it seems. But like the original, those who are highlighting the problem with the games industry are resonating with people. Kabrutus is a great example of that with SBI. Smash JT is another great example of that with Kotaku, and that's coming from me, who first discovered Smash JT 2 years before this thing blew up, and of course many other fine folks and fellow creators that have gone from up and coming to very established, and Hypnotic is another great example of that. Indeed. So they're resonating with people. She's not. Mercante is not, as I made the similar argument on the previous show. Those who resonate with people prevail. Those who do not resonate with people fail.
Okay. Somebody, Alex Darby said, I just want to read it because it sounds like it's going to be funny. We need a Diablo 2 clone, but instead of fighting demons, a player fights DEI proponents. Set it in a corporate offices, auditoriums, server rooms, etc. So you know what? Ask one of these indie devs that were part of this game jam to put one of those together. I think that could be pretty funny.
Hey, John, replace the demon with the tranny, am I right?
Yeah.
Indeed.
Okay, let's keep going.
Really made me realize the scale of it, because the richest man in the world was suddenly turning like the Eye of Sauron onto 16 people trying to make a pretty modest living in the industry that they love, and he was arguing for our
15 people now, am I right? But like, how are you? This is you know what? These people, they thrive on this stuff. They thrive on being the victim. It's like their central defining property. And you were talking about narrative creation. One of the things that I talk about on the other channel that I work, that's like my main job, which is like more of a political channel where we talk about men's issues, is that feminists have created this. They've created this. It's called a threat narrative. Okay, and the threat narrative is how they get. Essentially, they don't fix anything, but they make a lot of money. They get a lot of power and they get a lot of influence, and they get the power to destroy other people. So when she says, "Oh no, the richest man in the world," like they're picturing, or they're trying to frame it like what's the name of the guy from The Simpsons, Scorpio or whatever. No,
Scorpio. Yes, Scorpio. Yes.
Yeah. So like that's what Elon Musk is to them. He's Scorpio from The Simpsons, like like a James Bond villain. Not Klaus Schwab, who literally looks like one and acts like one. No.
And sounds like one.
Yeah, and sounds like one, right? It's not Klaus Schwab. It's not like, the guys at the World Economic Forum, which might as well just be Spectre. No, it's Elon Musk. The essentially, he's like Tony Stark, really. Kind of reformed. He saw what happened to his company in California. He saw what happened with his son. I think it was his son that wanted to transition. And he's basically like castrated himself, and he's like, what the fuck? Like, the doctors told me that wasn't the case. So and he saw what was going on with free speech. He basically just saw the writing on the wall and was like, I gotta make a change, man in the mirror. But and I'm not saying that he's perfect. I don't know. Like I'm not saying that. But Kim Belair is making the claim of the opposite, that he is a villain and a powerful one. He's Lex Luthor.
Right.
By the way, did you guys know that Lex Luthor has finally come out as homophobic? I just read that today or yesterday.
Well, I mean, he's a skinhead, so yeah.
I mean, dude,
I think it's proud.
You can only get so erect. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm not even sure if that's a meme, but I think it's real. I think he legit. Supervillain Lex Luthor is legitimately. I'm going to show it to you guys so you guys see.
Okay,
this is true. This is me sprinkling in other topics into this main one. Superman villain Lex Luthor comes out as homophobic. That's how you know he's a villain, I guess. Right. But anyway,
Just a billionaire trying to stop AIDS. That's all Lex Luthor.
Yeah, right. Stop the spread of AIDS. Oh man.
That's right. We don't need that monkeypox.
All right. Anyway, yeah, Hank Scorpio. Thank you, R2 Lee 2. That was who I think that they're thinking of.
Yeah.
All right, let's listen to more of this. But yeah, no, but this is the thing too. This is a bit narcissistic. That was the other thing I was going to point out, because she said, because Elon Musk made this comment, it's like they think that they're the center of everyone's attention. Now, in terms of symptoms, there might be some truth to that, and this is one of the things that I try to tell people when they talk about Sweet Baby Inc. or Kotaku, Alyssa Mercante, Anita Sarkeesian, Zoe Quinn, Leigh Alexander, or is it Lee Alexander? I don't know. Whoever it is that like is the sort of woke target of the week, it is important that they recognize that this is not an issue with these individuals. This is an issue of their ideas, of this religion. Right. And that's the thing. It's a religion that we're dealing with. It's a death cult. And if people understand that, then it becomes a lot easier for us to essentially like take action against it, do research, learn more about it, understand Maoism, understand like the outer school, the inner school, and the inner circle, these kind of concepts, understand like Marx and Engels and, you know, these other, like, there's so many commies writing about shit, but you should know the material and understand that this is all it is these people are programmed to regurgitate these talking points, and they will. So like if you know, if Chris Kindred loses his job, it doesn't matter, because he's, first of all, he's going to get a job somewhere else doing something very similar. His ideas haven't changed. They haven't been challenged. His ego is too much for him to admit that he's wrong. So he's not going to stop doing that. But what has to happen is that it needs to be cut off so that it can't spread into, you know, like larger institutions. And one of the ways to do that is to basically say, to at least at the, you know, at the business level, that this is not profitable and you shouldn't be allowing it. And then it's like, you know, just like a company wouldn't hire somebody who's openly a Nazi with like a swastika tattoo, you know, they don't want that. They should treat these people the same way. You know, right. I've been saying for years, communists should be treated the same as Nazis, and I'd be okay with that. So, and these people are communists. I mean, they're also Nazis in a way. Like, there's not much of a difference, honestly. But
no,
ideologically,
they are very fascist in their intent.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
One thing I notice about this woman in particular, it's a night and day difference between her GDC speech in 2019, March of 2019, to this XOXO festival in 2024. The last 5 years have really taken a toll on this lady, especially since the beginning of 2024. This is a positive consequence of highlighting the problem, finding solutions, and being the change that you want to see.
Right.
Yes. All right. Let's keep going.
Collapse. And this meant that, you know, it was when this happened and when it got bigger than this, you can tell I got it early as a screenshot, but yeah, it made us realize that this was huge. We were being attacked in a massive and coordinated campaign of harassment, and that sucks. But it does get me closer to the question of what happens when you get harassed. So first of all, just as a spoiler,
everybody.
like what happens when you get harassed is it sucks. I can't recommend it. If I had to rate the experience, like 1.5.
Oh my God! Look, is this leaning into the despair and the victimhood. So down at the bottom, I guess she's got her pros and cons. So cons: despair, sadness, doxing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you didn't get doxed. Like, you mean somebody went to your website and like you said was publicly available to anybody?
Well, we said she was in Canada, so you know that's doxing.
But that's also on the website, Montreal. But it's always the Canadians, isn't it? It's always the Canadians. I'm sorry, my wife's Canadian, but even she is like, what the fuck is going on with Canada? But it's because they kind of hate Americans, and I'm not kidding. Canadians kind of hate Americans. Okay, so threats of death and violence. Richest man in the world does a curse on you. What?
Okay, so 3 out of 3 for false.
Yeah, right. And then on the bonus side, you get a Wikipedia page. Yeah, congratulations. People who are already biased towards you probably wrote a very favorable Wikipedia page. XOXO talk. Okay, so you're putting your tongue in the assholes of the people who platformed you, and become very good at Elden Ring. Well, I think I'd like to see some evidence for that. But
that's actually a burn, because the only good game she's playing is one in which Sweet Baby Inc. have nothing to do with.
Yeah, right.
We don't
how do they?
my own
This game
games.
is really enjoyable. How did they do it?
Right.
I'd like to see them try to worm their way into FromSoft's. I don't think they're going to get to, because, well, anyway, I digress. I don't want to get into it. I love From Software. Love all their games. Armored Core, Dark Souls, Sekiro. I think they're all great. So yeah, this kind of hurts my feelings a little bit.
Half stars, probably. It's not the best, but more specifically, what happened during all of this, if I can kind of dig down into this review, is, we lost our voice.
No, you didn't.
And we didn't just lose our voice as a collective. We lost our voices individually, because people on our team were either hounded off of social media, or they get attacked so consistently that it just becomes frustrating to use. It's not enjoyable to hop on anywhere and get that wave of hate. So within Sweet Baby, beyond what we do for work.
SJWs always project. Just saying. Always project. Like, you didn't have a voice. Literally no one is silencing you, but you guys tried to silence Cabrutus Rambo.
Instead of the thumbnail that I made today, I did think about making one called, Kim Belair, personal projection theater. Because that's really what this was. So yeah, that was the alternate thumbnail for today that didn't happen. But yeah, she is more than a projection artist right now. If she was more of a projection artist, she'd be in a movie theater.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is, folks, thin skin don't win. And if you want to try and do someone in, which is exactly what SBI and their allies tried to do and failed to do, of course you're going to get pushback. And what you call harassment, Kim, we call accountability. And I'm sure you would agree, Honey Badger, considering you highlight men's issues. Accountability and womanhood are like chalk and cheese.
Yeah, right. Totally. There, we talk about that a lot. And the thing is, the people who run HBR, mostly, like, they're women. It's like a woman staff thing. They just need a man to do all of the, technical things. That's what I do. Yep. So, but like, yeah, they're like, you know what? I'm okay with holding women accountable. I'm okay with blaming them for the shit that they do that's messed up, because there are people like, you can't do that. It's insane. Speaking of which, maybe if we have time, we can look at it later. Did you guys see that video put out by the Biden-Harris campaign? I'm a man. And it's like these men,
and they're not really men. Yeah.
Well, clearly. You should see it. There's a couple of them, because they're trying to court the male vote, because the left has alienated and attacked men and criticized men and demonized men for so long, like at least 100 years, in fact, that men are just like, you know what? I'm not participating. I'm not your friend anymore. At least some of them. There's still plenty of cucked men that are gonna support anyways. But yeah, these are basically castrated men. But anyway, I got something else about Kim Belair. It's sort of another topic I want to get to, but let's play some more of this video first.
There are authors, there are comic book creators, there are TTRPG creators, game designers, people who have other work that they want to share with the world, that they should be allowed to share with the world. But just for existing within our company, just for working on the games that they do, they were attacked.
Does that mean they? Okay.
Criticize.
Does that mean they can't? Yeah. Go ahead.
Criticism is not a form of attack, and as someone who has for quite a few years now, and John is well aware of this, someone who's made a name for themselves in regards to highlighting the best of content creation and the fact that it takes all sorts to get to where we are today, all of the people who are part of Sweet Baby Inc. are more than able and willing to showcase their projects. Right. But when you are associated with a company that is as egregious as SBI, of course you're going to face backlash. Of course you're going to face criticism. If they were all independent content creators, just speaking their mind, speaking truth to power, showcasing their projects, I dare say they do a lot better than to be tarred with the SBI brush. Everything it touches dies, it seems.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
you know, their conceit here is that words are violence, and you know, and cutting off body parts is, you know, not. So I mean, like, you're dealing with completely delusional
That's
people.
healthcare.
That's right. That's right.
Like cutting off your genitals or killing, you know, killing the unborn. That's healthcare. That's not
I thought
violence at all.
I thought we got rid of the Aztecs and the Mayans and all the native peoples that did all that sort of stuff.
Ritualistic sacrificing.
They didn't die. They just got jobs in the medical industry and HR departments and teaching. That's basically where they moved to. But yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, criticism is not hate. It's not violence. You know what? Some people. The fact is, we're just looking at people who don't deal with it well at all, because people have never told them that they suck at their job. Like they've just sucked their, you know, they just kiss their asses their whole life, and then they get into the real world, and all of a sudden, like, you know, their work is exposed for what it is, which is mediocre. I mean, let's look at some examples of people who have been criticized, maybe even like, you know, relentlessly, and then they went back and they said, I'm gonna fix this, and they did.
Right.
What's the greatest redemption story of all of gaming, or at least
No Man's Sky.
Yes, that's
No Man's Sky.
the one that's deserved, mind you. Cyberpunk 2077, that is not deserved, because it was built as a game that would define a generation, and it did, just in the worst way possible.
Yes, but No Man's Sky, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, did that guy cry victim? I mean, he couldn't, because he's a man, and like, men can't do that. It doesn't work for them. But so he had no choice. He had to, like, either, you know, pick up the pieces and make it right, or just like leave the industry in shame. And he chose to fix it, and now he has a future.
Right.
So like,
here's the free DLCs. We're gonna just give you all these free DLCs. No, we don't want these free DLCs. You're gonna get them anyway.
That's
all
right.
these updates and things, which is very rare in the
in
the games industry.
Yes. So I got a super chat from James Op, or OP. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. And he says, for $2, thank you, James. Really appreciate it. Here, I'll play a sound just for you.
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
Yeah, because basically anybody talking on this stream is violating the moral statutes. So, all right, and he says that Harris ad was all paid actors. Oh yeah, obviously it was. But thank you for telling us, of course, because nothing in that in that political camp is real, especially when it comes to men, because they like, literally, it was like written by someone who doesn't even know what a man is. Like
Right.
that, like it's so shallow. You know, it's like I died a little inside.
So
every time I watch
Kamala
it.
wrote it then.
Well, you know, she comes from a middle class family. I don't know if you know this.
Yes, I'm well aware. What can be unburdened by what has been.
That's right. We have to do that. All right.
Contractors, people who literally worked with us for, like, you know, a spot check, a week or a couple months. But there was really, really nothing we could do. And as silly as it is, and as little as I miss the current Twitter, as little as I regret leaving it, the loss of, like, frivolity and, you know, frankly, like, dumb bullshit is actually a little soupçon of dehumanization. Because I would love to post a picture of my latte or my dogs without people going like, oh, I guess coffee is woke now, and hey, that dog is pretty gay. But we weren't.
I bet you made your dog gay.
Right.
But again, this is kind of ridiculous. Like, again, this is the straw manning. Like, oh, you probably think this. I can't do anything on social media anymore. You're literally on the stage at XOXO Fest.
Literally
Right.
good. I can't do anything on social media these days. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
right. Yeah, right.
Hopefully you'll be robbed of the institutional power and we'll never have to see your face again. Carry on.
I have no voice or a platform where I'm speaking on this very
Yeah.
platform.
I'm
want
on this
our
platform
privacy.
to tell you that I don't have a platform. Right?
I
Yeah, we
know.
want our privacy. Okay, Xeranx. Thank you. Xeranx gives a Rumble rant of looks like $5. I can barely see it. Yeah, $5. Thank you. And he says, Kim Belair, the name itself sounds too rich for all the whining that she's doing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. Here's another name for her, Kim Bellend.
Her
Yes.
her dog isn't gay, but he is black.
It's allowed. We are no longer allowed to be in the conversation without, what amounts to mass targeting. Look at him up there. And don't get me wrong.
God.
People did defend us. Some very, very great folks, like often writers, game devs, people who he had worked with, people he had not worked with, who could see this thing for what it was. But while I appreciated the defense and the team appreciated it so much, that support is still really hard to feel in the panic of the moment. And so instead, I felt really guilty.
Well,
I
you
felt
should,
responsible.
because you know what? You did some stupid fucking shit, and then you kind of had to find out about it.
That's funny
that's
because
how these things go.
This is the same woman that would say that she would scoff at the concept that she would call white comfort or male comfort. And so she's okay with making the right kinds of people uncomfortable and making them feel guilty. But when she feels guilt, she's got to do a whole PowerPoint presentation on how unfair it is that she has to experience that. And let's get into a little bit of what Kim Belair believes. This is I believe the Sweet Baby Inc. website was scrubbed recently. So there, it doesn't have all of the information that was once on there. It's very bare bones. And the only way you can see what they're about is to send them an email. So they're essentially tightening the hole that you would use to communicate with them so that it's harder to do that. But
I wish
this
they
is
would
a blurb.
tighten other things like a noose.
Right.
Right.
Here's some this is a blurb about her, and I want to read through this because I want you to see she is in fact a bigot, and I think that that's obvious. Now, I don't think that accusing someone of being a bigot is necessarily I think it's a weak argument. I don't have to make that case, to basically say I don't want to support you because I just don't think it's the strongest way to make that case. But nonetheless, if I'm going to hold her to her standards just for a moment, not that she has any, this is what she wrote about herself. So, hi, I'm Kim Belair, and I'm a black woman working in games. Right off the bat, why does it matter that you're a black woman? Well, I think we know, right?
She deserves
Also-
representation and,
It's also not true. She's a product of a mixed race background.
Yeah, I was going to
Exactly.
say,
She
also,
plays a
she's
black
obviously
woman.
not black. She's mixed race. And this
She's
is,
the
this
Kamala
is a-
Harris. She's the Kamala Harris of gaming.
Pretty much.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
We did it. We did it, Joe.
All right. So she's not a black woman, and this is a thing that I think that I've seen countless times. Mixed race people are some of the wokest people.
Yep.
Colin Kaepernick, it's everywhere. You see it all the time.
Ethnically beige, as I like to call them.
Yeah.
Rachel Zegler, Amanda
Yeah,
Stenberg,
Rachel Zegler,
Kamala
Amanda-
Harris, Elizabeth Warren.
Well, Elizabeth Warren is white as fuck. That's
1,024.
Yeah, right. Okay, so anyway, I'm also the co-founder and CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., a black and queer-owned narrative development company working in indie and AAA spaces around the world. How much of why? So they're telling you these are the things that matter to me. These identities are the most important. She's creating a hierarchy of identity groups, and she believes that what she's doing is sort of fighting a system. Because remember when you and I went, John, through the first half last week, she mentioned that it's great that people do portfolio reviews, but the problem is that they're based on a meritocracy, and because they're based on a meritocracy, then people who get excluded we're what we know is that they're not really being excluded because of merit. It must be because of racism. So she's basically just creating the conclusion and then building up a case to justify her conclusion.
It is absolutely ridiculous, especially since Elon Musk was included in this conversation. He is, of course, a white South African. And, to compare the fact that, meritocracy doesn't matter. Well, your chief opponent, who barely referenced you and your company, is making battle droids and space rockets to the moon and Mars a reality, while you and your ilk can't even build a helicopter. I mean, literally, I've seen the videos of Africans trying to build helicopters, and they always fail. So yes, of course, meritocracy is important. No wonder Sweet Baby Inc. is destroying itself.
Yeah, I've seen the Negromancy. Okay, so anyway, right now things feel scary, uncertain, infuriating, and heartbreaking. In light of the government-sanctioned violence being perpetuated against Black communities, it is important that we not only say something, but do something. This was, around the Black Lives Matter Summer of Love 2020, the thing that drove me out of my home, and forced me to move into another state because I didn't want it to, essentially end up in a Mad Max style, Escape from New York style scenario. So I literally escaped from Chicago and came to Virginia.
Another Chicagoan I'm interacting with. Damn.
Yeah. Who else?
Plenty. Nerdporial Lifeform, Troy Pacelli, his wife Netta's Network, formerly Dobby, Rev Ravenwolf, who vanished from thin air. I've interacted with quite a few Chicagoans, so much so I could literally set up a show, reality-based Chicago, more likely than reality-based All Blacks.
Yeah, I would. I would definitely talk to Chicagoans and get their stories because I left in 2020, and it was because of this. So, and the thing is too, she said in the beginning of this video, which we covered last week, that she used. It's important to point this out. She used the climate of the time with both the Black Lives Matter riots as well as the Me Too movement to put herself or position herself and her friends, and it's not just her, but like all kinds of groups, unions, and various like other, sort of like sub businesses that wanted to like get their foot in an industry, and they used white guilt and male guilt, feminism,
and government grant money,
which came into being because there were politicians that saw an opportunity to essentially improve their odds of being reelected by virtue signaling about these things that were going on with Me Too and the BLM riots, and they use it to get jobs. And that's why, it was already bad for a number of other reasons. Because again, I've been doing this for 10 years, and I know it was longer. I think I started talking about what was going on with video games and comic books in like 2013, 2012 or something. So yeah, I knew this was coming, but yeah, here we are, and they're just telling us, like, yeah, I did this. I saw this. I saw an opportunity. I seized it. What are you gonna do? Criticize me? I'm gonna call you a racist. I'm gonna call you a sexist. I'm gonna call you a misogynist. I'm gonna call you a homophobe. Right. I'm gonna get you fired. And so they're just telling you, right, where their priorities are at. It is challenging enough to navigate this world as a Black person and to find solace, solidarity, and support. This is equally true for Black people working in and adjacent to the games industry, where opportunities are rarely afforded. That's not true. Help is rarely given. Literally, programs exist exclusively for Blacks and other minorities, and Black and other marginalized voices are ignored, silenced, or actively threatened. We want to help in what ways we can. Also worth pointing out, not American, this lady. She's Canadian. Like, literally not American. Like, you can't even lean on the bullshit historical oppression narrative, which is bullshit.
I can also call bullshit on what she's saying because we've spotlighted defect, however it's pronounced, and quite literally the director, his name is KP, is what he went by in art school. So I'll leave it at that, and not give his full-blown name away. But KP is totally a Black man, and
I wish what she was saying was true. It would give me a leg up into the games industry. I could maybe become the male version of Melanie Mack, you know, be nice to everyone and then suddenly become an insane radical in the span of, oh, I don't know, 2 years. That's one hell of a creator journey. That's one rabbit hole you don't want to fall into unprepared. But yes, I agree with what you're saying, Honey Badger. Everything this lady is saying is completely false, just like everything woke turns to shit.
Yes. A great man said that once. Okay, so let's see. So to that end, Sweet Baby is firstly donating funds, but we also want to help Black devs and aspiring devs find their footing and get concrete help in the industry, with an aim to get people the credits and paid experience needed to make headway, as well as providing counsel, support, and venting space. We've set up this email, and then it has their email. We invite you to reach out and let us know what you need, even if it's just a listening ear. We'll help where we can. At the very least, we can offer advice, calls, portfolio punch-ups, marketing help, Q&As, and conversational space. So essentially, they'll be willing to work as the mafia on the part of people who are looking for help, because that's kind of how they operate. It doesn't matter what they're obviously not talented. Like, look at Dustborn, okay? They're obviously not good at what they do. Look at what happened to Suicide Squad. Like, they're crap at narrative design. Okay. So what they do is instead they bully and they use this victimhood narrative to get people in line and make them do what they want. Thanks for subscribing, Master of the TDS. What's up?
Total. Great to see Total.
To the stream. Really appreciate it. Okay.
Great guy. Total, Master of the TDS. TDS stands for Total Defense Shogun. Him and Right and Raven, they're the two, the dynamic duo, husband and wife team behind Gothic Therapy, who broke the news regarding Chris Kindred going the way of the dinosaur. They're a great team, and we had them on Reality Based, and they're Jews too. So talk about cherry on top of the cake right there.
Indeed. I watched their most recent bit of coverage on it because I wanted to be prepared for today. And yeah, it was quite a good video.
Wonderful people.
Well,
wonderful.
Thank you for the sub, Master of the TDS. Welcome to Honey Badger Arcade. I've been doing this for 10 years. This channel is still like, I'm sort of getting back into it. I used to do streams with my wife from a long time ago, and they were a lot of fun. But now I'm using this small platform to like talk about stuff going on in the culture, help people understand like what is it with the religion behind all of this, because that's what it comes down to. There's a cult, and that's where all of these bad ideas come from. They're not concerned with hypocrisy. They're not concerned with double standards. They're only concerned with winning, and there's plenty of evidence for that, and they don't care. And of course, what they don't know is if they do win, they will be the first to be lined up and shot. So, so anyway,
they're just useful idiots, and they do put the idiot in useful. You know.
Absolutely. Yes. Unfortunately, my hour is up, gentlemen, which is a damn.
Well, it has been a pleasure.
It's a damn shame, because I hope I can pop in every now and again, but 3 hours streaming, it can take its toll. But thank you, Honey Badger. It's very, very kind and considerate of you to have me on your hopefully rising star
The
show.
channel is called Honey Badger Arcade. My name is Brian. You can just call me Brian.
I know. That's interesting. Also, never met a Puerto Rican based in Puerto Rico, so hopefully I can find one of these.
We're not. Base Puerto Ricans are kind of uncommon, but my friends are Puerto Rican and they're all right. So,
all right.
Anyway.
Well, you can check me out over at Ryan Roger Athe, host and founder of Reality Base, but stay here, watch the rest of this show. I'm sure you will enjoy John and Brian tangoing with these egregious creatures. I'm off to make a few more videos and to get better, get healthier.
Indeed. I will catch you tomorrow, sir, and we'll talk about some rising stars.
Fingers crossed. So bye for now, everyone.
All right. Thanks for coming on. All right, so really appreciate him coming on. He had a lot of good things to say. It's been a good week this week for shows after my interview with the Cult guys, and now this other guest. Who knows? Maybe I'll have more guests on more often, as long as I can accommodate the screen real estate. I don't know. But
Indeed.
anyway,
we'll sort it out.
Yeah, for sure. Let me move Vivian back into this position here so that that empty space isn't being neglected. Let me just So, how you doing, Vivian? Are you doing all right? Gonna wait until she talks. Oh, it failed. Okay, she's ignoring me. Give me the silent treatment.
Well,
we are here for.
She is a woman.
She's probably playing a video game. We are here for you now, and we will be here for you in the future. Let's make good stuff together. # Black Lives Matter. So we know where her priorities are at. And again, like I think that, it gets to a point, I don't know if you guys notice, that virtue signaling is probably one of the fakest things you can do. And these people, they are peak that. They are peak fakeness. So let's finish her video, and I think at this point she's going to, if I predict this correctly, because this is always the same formula. I did watch it once, but it was a while ago. It usually lands on, we have to come together, because which is another way of saying, I have to know how many of you are loyal to my cause.
Right.
So that will be like, I want to know what side you're on, right? So when she says we have to come together, we have to support each other, it's basically saying, are you on my side or are you with the enemy? And then the other thing is she's going to, and the other thing is she's going to call for censorship or some kind of control, because that's what they're ultimately about. They're about control.
Right.
I felt bad, not for doing the job that I love, but for building a space that was meant to be protective and creative for a bunch of people and having it turn into something that, through no fault of our own, saw my friends and my loved ones and my colleagues and my coworkers just viciously and brutally hurt. I felt bad for making a company at all. I felt bad for believing in it and for speaking on it. People would come up to me, especially at events like I went to GDC, and they would very kindly tell me that they were inspired by me or by us and by our collective strength and our resilience. And I would say thank you so much, but deeply I would feel very ashamed. Which intellectually I know is wrong, right? We are doing something good. We are writers and designers of tremendous skill and tremendous experience, and we've never censored anything, nor have we ever wanted to. Frankly, if you really want my opinion, I think largely games could be hornier. I think they should be darker. I think they should be stranger.
What do you mean by hornier? Like,
probably
I'm going to
PDF
do
shit.
Yeah, I'm sure that it's, I think it's definitely going to be
PDF adjacent, if not full on.
Rainbow friendly, hornier. And I mean, again, like, you can do that if you want to. I'm not saying nobody should be able to make it, but like, what the problem is not that this content exists or that you want to create this content. The problem is that you are taking what already exists, what's already established, what already has a built-in, fan base, a built-in customer base, and has a franchise, and you're trying to change it to fit your particular, desires. And when you do that, that's what turns people off. Like, make your own thing. But the thing is, when they make their own thing, it doesn't tend to be as successful.
It's dustbin.
Yeah, it's dustbin. It's Concord. It's Suicide Squad. Well, even when they have a license, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. I mean, somehow that game is getting worse over time. Like they just introduced another character. I don't even remember, like somebody's daughter or something.
Deadshot's daughter.
Oh
she's Robin Hood, y'all.
Oh my god. And it looks awful, and it's like, you guys just keep doing this. So I can't wait to see aren't they working on the Wolverine game?
Yes.
I can't wait to see how awful that's going to be. I can't wait to not buy it.
Yeah.
But there's certainly going to be a lot of news and memes. And that's the thing. Like, it almost has to be to the point where people's most favored, most treasured characters and franchises have to be ruined by people like this before they wake up and say, okay, this isn't like a one-off. This isn't like somebody just trying something new. This is intentional. It's because again, if you understand how this, how much
do you think they're gonna push the throuple in Wolverine between Cyclops and Jean and Wolverine?
What
because
about
that
that?
is well, there's like they're a throuple now in the Disney
they're in a
Marvel comics.
situationship. Yeah,
Yes,
they're in a
yes.
situationship. Yeah, that's again like
and Jean is kind of the third wheel. So
Teal Deer said the bear-shaped druid wants to ravage your bussy. Press X to consent. I actually want. I have already talked about how, despite the fact, and this is an interesting example. Baldur's Gate 3 is super woke, but it's also a really good game. So it's one of these rare things where it's like, okay, they obviously, I would like the gameplay itself is good, and the way that they developed a lot of stuff is good, but I would never want to sit at a table with those characters in real life. Like I would never want to play a game with them because they were literally trying to fuck everything. And I'm just like, can we just go into the dungeon and like kill the evil wizard instead of,
we'll go into the dungeon.
Doing the
we'll
relationship.
go to my sex dungeon.
Yeah, right. Like what? Because that's what I mean, I haven't gotten past Act 1 yet, but as I understand it, it only gets hornier from there. And it's like, man, guys, like, pick up a Bible. I don't know. Like, just take a break. Stop, okay? Just stop.
Right.
This is too
Maybe
much.
Focus on like the task at hand.
Yeah, but on the plus side, you can you don't have to do any of that. Like last time I did a stream of Baldur's Gate 3, Lazelle, who's like the Gith Yankee warrior chick, she threw herself at my main character. Like, I want to have you, I want to taste you, and all this. And I was feeling really icky about it. And I was like, I just turned her down. I was like, no, we're gonna do this.
Fine.
I got a mission to complete. We're gonna do this. You know what? That's the funny thing too. Have you noticed that like these people get involved with something and it suddenly becomes way more sexualized, and yet men are supposedly the super sexual ones?
Right.
When the men are playing games like Space Marine 2, which is basically like the peak stoicism, like just guy plants the flag like that. The things that get me hard in that game are like the manly shit, like the guy planting the banner as like the warp is opening and all the chaos is like coming through and he's like shooting at them and they're obviously gonna die there, and and all this. It's like the manliest shit, and I'm like, yeah, there's nothing like, and I don't need any of that. But for some reason, these people get involved, and it's like they just want to make it. They just want to make it gross.
Well, you have to remember their identities are all based around sexual proclivities. So it's like they have no character and no experience to build from or build around. So it's all just kind of like, hey,
they're defined by their sexual tastes. That's what it is. Yeah. Their identity is wrapped up in their sexual tastes, and it only, because they really want to stand out, their sexual tastes only become more and more and more like sort of fringe. Like, and strange, right? Hence, bear sex in Baldur's Gate, or like there was like a bug.
I went
bear,
to the porn shop. It's not as though like I'm a prude, but this shit is just kind of like, wow.
Well, no, but I mean, I think some things are better left like
exactly in the porn shop,
private. Yeah, like, can we have that curtain again, that back room? But anyway, Telia says murder hobos have been replaced by horny hobos. Yeah, that's basically what it is. I also got a Rumble rant from Zerank, so let me play a sound for you. Here's a little Macho Man Savage. Oh yeah! And he gives us 5 and says, if you play that part about her creating a safe place, it sounds like advocacy for family and motherhood until you get to the horny. Now she sounds like she should be watched if she has kids. Yeah. Yep. I don't know if she wants kids. She probably doesn't. And maybe
I think she's happy with her queer dog,
Yeah. Well, she might be dog pilled. I don't know if you know what that's about, but that's another rabbit hole I don't want to get into.
I don't. We don't need to bust out the peanut butter.
No. All right, and then Zeranx gives another 5, and he gets another sound effect for that. So let me see. Maybe I can play this one. See if you can get this reference.
I said, put the bunny back in the box.
Some Con Air.
Yeah. And he says, CRPGs play to women's interests in romance novels. If you've ever read one, you easily see how it transfers over. Soap opera, X-rated stuff. Yeah, absolutely. And Tomby got it right off the bat, Con Air. Well, it's an obvious quote, though. It's an obvious one, but it's a good one. I'm gonna save the fucking day. I'm gonna show you that God does exist.
At the core of my approach here, and the approach that we take as a company, I genuinely believe that representation is not censorship, it is innovation. Diversity in narrative makes things more intense. It can make it more visceral and more real. It doesn't have to always make something more wholesome or softer. I really do.
Okay, so the case here is that, go ahead, you want to respond to it?
Yeah. Again, games are escapism. I don't need to be fucking hit over the head with reality. Like I want to just play a game that is about the context and the verisimilitude of what is going on within the context of said, setting, the world, completely devoid of any of the shit that gets caught up in the trappings of my everyday reality. Like, I want games to just focus on having tight mechanics, and then if you want to throw a story in there on top of it for me to kind of get into, if I actually want that shit, awesome, cool. But ultimately, I just want to be able to play a game. That's it. Simple.
Yeah. Well, and also, I just want to say, representation is not innovation. Innovation is innovation.
Indeed.
What she's essentially arguing is if you don't have a diverse cast, then you're not trying anything new, and that literally is not true. What if are you saying? So let's say somebody makes a game and there are no humans in the game at all. It's all animals, or it's robots, or it's green blobs with eyes, or whatever it is. Pac-Man is one of the most well-known games ever, and there are no humans in it. There are multiple colors of the ghosts. I guess you could call that diversity, but that literally is not true. Pac-Man was innovative in its time.
Maybe those ghosts are part of the 42%.
Yeah. So this is just what I think is happening here is that she is faced with a conundrum. She has to advocate for her woke agenda being crammed into places where it likely doesn't need to exist, and it forces people to essentially see everything through the lenses of race and gender and sexual orientation and so on. But she has to justify it in a context that actually doesn't make sense. Which is, to say that it is actually, this is making your games better. Actually, this is making your games more interesting. And that's just not true, because when she says it makes it more visceral and real, well, let's look at how it's executed. When she puts, black and brown bodies in her games, what ends up happening is everything becomes about black and brown bodies. Literally, that's the only conversation, and it's basically there to make non-black and brown bodies that are playing the game and in the game itself uncomfortable. That's period, point blank, it. That's all it is. It's women calling men sexist. It's blacks calling whites racist. It's, gays calling straights homophobes, and just varying the context. Remember that video clip that we went through of Dustborn, where they were talking about where the Latino guy, who is basically white adjacent at this point. Latinos are white adjacent, in case you don't know. They're white enough that they can be thrown under the bus, and that he was a man on top of that. So being a man trumps everything else, regardless. That's why black men, like the guy who developed your game, he's still a man, so it doesn't matter that he's black because he's a man. So that's the thing
last week. Yeah, last week when that person, that crazy delusional fucktard that was in your chat, said that you were racist against white people. And I nearly pissed myself, because it's dude, you literally do a show with a guy who goes by the moniker problematic white guy, and I'm so fucking white that I literally absorb the color in my room.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So yeah, anyway, I got a super chat from James OP. Thank you, James. He says, people missed something about that clip. That big sigh as she starts that last bit says she knows she is losing the battle and is frustrated, not happy. Well, yeah, of course. But then it being in the underdog position is their favorite. They're totally power bottoms. So they love to be in the underdog position because they get to cry victim more and harder, and they get more money out of it. So at the end of the day, she'll make money, she'll get jobs, she'll be repositioned, she'll move either horizontally or vertically, even. Just like Anita did. Anita got like a room at like I think it was Facebook, the Facebook office. They had like a room named after her.
Yeah.
So, and she was like, "Oh my God, I got a room." So they're gonna leave a mark regardless. It's because we accept it. That's what it comes down to. We excuse it. We try to rationalize it. We try to say, "Well, they're probably mistaken. Oh, they probably don't know this statistic. Oh, they probably don't understand the situation for this group." No, that's not it. They don't care. Like that's all it is. It's very simple. It was Google. Okay, it was Google. I thought it was Facebook, but it's Google, which is worse but more predictable. But anyway, so yeah, I think that in terms of the money, and thank you, James Opp again. Did I play a sound for you? I should play a sound for you. Here's a good one.
Why are you gay?
All right, so you are gay. Anyway, so let's see. Yeah, so it doesn't matter. Like, I guess the best we can hope for is that new devs will rise up, and double A studios are doing well, and they're making really good stuff. So we'll just support the people who like us. And fortunately, there's still a lot of that. It might even be like a significant minority, and more are moving in that direction as well. So you know, Activision, Electronic Arts, Blizzard, those are all lost causes, basically. You know, who are the guys who made Tomb Raider? Eidos or
Eidos, it should be.
Eidos? Not the original.
At least it was back in the day. Now,
no.
Originally Core.
Core, okay, yeah. Square Enix, Capcom, Konami. They're they used to be like my go-to. Like I remember back in the day when I had a Super Nintendo. Konami games were just guaranteed to be a hit, like no matter what. They had the Konami name on it, it was good. But that's not the thing anymore. But that's okay, because a lot of other people are coming up, and a lot of the studios that ended up firing guys, those guys that got fired because of the Me Too movement to get these people in there, they went off to start their own thing, because you can't really make them go away. You just make them like, okay, we're gonna start over, we're gonna be over here. You know, that's how you get like the Forever Winter, which is a game that people have been talking about. It's like a horror, survival horror, and it's like a multiplayer co-op. And the guys who worked on it used to work for big AAA studios. So most likely, if you got into their background, they probably got fired on some bullshit, and somebody called harassment, and they lost their job, and then a woman took it, and that's probably what happened.
Which is why all these new games are being made in the Unreal 5 engine, because all the actual engineers and technicians, people who know what the fuck is going on and how to actually do things, they don't exist in these large scale companies anymore.
Yeah, thanks for subscribing, Rob and Oz. Really appreciate it. I'm a little off my game today for some reason, so
we're all off our game. I've
digesting a big steak, and it's like making me tired.
Yeah, I've got
the
like a burn in my stomach that's been going since like about 3 a.m. So that sucks. It is what it is.
Yeah. All right, let's listen to more of Kim Belair.
I do believe that by opening up to new perspectives, by getting folks in the room, we actually push more boundaries and we get more real. But what happens when you get harassed is it doesn't matter what you believe. What's also frustrating is that it doesn't matter what they believe either, because so much of this campaign is just misinformation. It's assumptions and lies about who we are, what we do, and what we want. We have worked on 80 games, as I said before, and I think that's pretty cool, but to them...
I think you've made it pretty explicit that you want to burn the games industry to the ground.
Yeah.
I think that much is true. And when we say, yeah, we don't like that, we're not even saying anything else. We're not like trying to get your company shut down. I think that this is desperation, because I'm betting that developers that they were working with or going to work with cut them off after the disaster that was Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and Dustborn, which were both, Sweet Baby. I'm not going to include Concord because I don't think they worked on that, but it doesn't matter because people who believe what they believe worked on that. So I think that they cut them off because they were like, well, you're you're a financial risk. And it's not because Cabrutus Rambo added you to a list. It's because they looked at the numbers. They counted, the bean counters looked, and they were like, these people don't turn a profit. They're bad for business.
Right.
And now she's like, what have you done to us? Like, why are you bullying
this is
me?
like, right, this is like when I, shouted down that tranny demon who was all like, why are you denigrating me? I didn't denigrate you. You denigrate yourself when you, cut parts of yourself off. And that's exactly what this is, only like in a figurative way. You cut yourself off to reality and you get into your little delusion hole. Well, guess what? Not everybody's going to go in there with you. So when you start sending out messages from your, bottle reality, a lot of us don't receive it. And it just gets lost at sea, never to wash up on the shore. So you did it to yourself.
Real quick, shout out to Rob in Oz for subscribing. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. I'm gonna play a sound for you.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. And I also forgot to give one to Master of the TDS. So if you're still listening, I'm gonna play a sound for you as well. I hope you like this.
All
one.
right, all right, all right.
All right.
Indeed.
So let's get into it.
It's something closer to 200. We have our little fingers, our woke little fingers, in every pie in this industry. And that's the other thing that happens, right?
Excellent.
They take away your power in some ways, but they also ascribe to you this enormous power. They
don't take. How do we take away your power? What
Right?
does that even mean?
You're on stage.
This is still, like
you made those 80 games. Like, what about your shit has been impacted other than people just don't buy it?
But
and that has nothing to do with
that's the problem though. People
Right.
should not be, no, I'm serious. In the long run, people should not be allowed to decide what to do with their own money. Like, this has only become a conversation that has lasted for more than 10 years because some people, like this person, believe that you, the customer, who is supposed to be appealed to, is not supposed to spend their money on anything but what they put in front of you. You have to buy their slop.
Right.
You're just like when they, and if you don't give it to them, then there's something wrong with you. Like, and you have to be shamed. You have to be profiled. You have to be put in a box and said, these people are bigots and racists and scumbags. And, they should be banned from all these things because they didn't buy our product. And more than that, it's not even just buying the product. You have to celebrate them. You have to lift them up and say, these people are gods. They have given us this great woke garbage, but I love it. I can't, and that's why you get people in, they have bots on Twitter. I know that Master TDS knows about this because I know that his primary focus seems to be on these bots online. And a new game will come out. I remember when Concord was coming out, or when was it Homeworld 3, and they were like, oh, I can't wait to go on this, this adventure in space. And there was all of these posts that sounded very similar, and they were all promoting the game. So, and I think they get off on that. They want to be praised. It's not just that they want to make money and they want your money, because a lot of these people are already pretty privileged. I can guarantee you that they make good money. They're doing very well. They get government money. I mean,
they own houses.
Baby Inc. gets, they own houses, right, in Canada, which is kind of a miracle right now. But they get money from foreign governments. They get money from the European Union. They get government money from Nordic
Government
countries. They get
all this stuff.
They get,
and they didn't have to pay it back because it's grant money.
Yeah,
they're quite literally just being given every opportunity that one can have laid at their feet, and yet that's still not good enough.
Yep. So this is so when you don't give them the praise, when you don't support their product, they act like what you're doing is you are disempowering them. That's why she's making this claim that that they lose power and yet we ascribe power to them, but they do have power, like we've already said, right? Yep. But anyway.
claim that you are rich, that you are backed by, shadowy cabals, government orgs. They claim you have the ability to force their favorite studios to bend to your whim, rather than the truth, which is that studios and teams hire us to make stories better. Not woker, but actually
better. to
Better.
make them
No, they're
DEI
not
compliant.
That's like objectively false. Like your stories suck. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a moment to what is a game? I know that for you it's like Metal Gear, right?
Mhm.
What is a game that has a good story that these people were not involved with? And also a game that doesn't, it has a good story, but it has nothing to do with like people's skin color, people's gender, people's, you know, sexual orientation. It's just like solid. I mean, I could argue that even like Super Mario Brothers is good enough, or Double Dragon.
Cuphead's a good game.
Cuphead, yeah.
You're not even people in Cuphead, you know, cartoons.
Yeah, but they're white.
Right. Well, you're right. You're right.
White. So
indeed.
No, I don't know. Like I think that I like the story of Dark Souls, and it's not easy to like put together, but when you do, I think it's really well done. It's you know, obviously borrows from Berserk, but Berserk is a good story too, at least for as long as you know, Kento was writing it. Unfortunately, he passed away. R.I.P. to Kento Miura, but still, like you know, I think that it's a great story. I like the what's another one? I mean, you know, some of them they start off as premises and then they sort of evolve them into stories. Like Castlevania, the original Castlevania was it was just enough story to like put you through a number of stages and kill Dracula. But when you look at it, it doesn't make a lot of sense. They just put Frankenstein in there and there's mummies in there. They're just putting all the Universal monsters in it. And then they just made it into a game with levels. And over time, people were like, well, we like this game a lot. So, you know, they developed it into something. And considering what they had to start with, it's not bad, you know, as an example. Metroid has a good story, especially Super Metroid.
Yeah.
You know, on the Super NES, when the Metroid comes to your rescue at the end, like, it's freaking awesome, right?
I love Super Metroid.
So yeah, if you guys have, I mean, Half-Life, like, you know, I understand that because I haven't played it yet, but I understand that Half-Life is a favorite amongst a lot of old heads here, and primarily because of the story and that it was like sort of like the gameplay and the narrative were like interwoven. So like this idea, and like, come on, Kim, like, do you really think that anything you make could come anywhere near the quality of like a story like Half-Life or Half-Life 2? Or even like something that's primarily just a premise, like Left 4 Dead.
Well, I mean, she innovated. She put brown people in it.
Oh,
and gay people.
Everything.
Yeah. Like, aren't you? You know,
I'm sorry.
Moved by innovation.
I'm just gonna put on my white hood and sit here quietly. Okay. Anyway, let's move on.
And believe me, when this first started, I was so worried that studios would stop working with us. I worried we seemed too toxic. I worried we seemed too dangerous, too beleaguered, too much of a risk to work with, but that is not what happened. What happened was, at least privately, every team we worked with was quite supportive. The external silence, I'll say, was deafening.
Yeah, after you basically like flexed your muscle on them and took them out to a coffee and terrified them until they gave you what you wanted. Sure, they were totally. It's like she might as well be like a mob boss, like the Kingpin. You know, we came to them and talked to them, and they're very supportive. You know,
we told them how unfortunate
they didn't cross any lines.
Their terms.
Yeah, it might as well be Tony Soprano.
At times, and also frustrating, but such is the way of corporate. And it was still nice fundamentally, I think, to realize that studios, teams, and individuals still wanted us around and still saw our value. Which I will say, though, is also a very disorienting experience, because what happens when you get harassed is that you realize that most of it is just noise and that nothing functionally or fundamentally changes. People say, I'm so sorry for what you're dealing with, but could I get that script on Monday? And you say,
see, okay, so again, notice the framing here. She's telling us that actually none of what's happening with people having opinions on her is actually doing that much harm.
Yeah, it's not even
like the developers,
in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, the publishers and developers still support them in like the abstract sense. Like they're not really losing a lot of work. I mean, the companies are losing money because they're doubling down, but you know, that's on them at the end of the day. But like she's trying to, how do I like at once, you know, come to terms or be honest about the fact that we're not actually all getting like ruined or destroyed by these criticisms because these companies are still supporting us. But at the same time, the criticisms are still victimizing us, right? So, what she's going to do is she's going to pivot and kind of blame the company she's working for because, you know, despite the fact that they're getting all of this harassment, they still have to meet deadlines.
Right.
So let's hear it again. So you know that this is their work ethic.
They want me to do my job.
Yeah, they still want me to do my job despite all of the oppression.
Realize that most of it is just noise and that nothing functionally or fundamentally changes. People say, I'm so sorry for what you're dealing with, but could I get that script on Monday? And you say, yeah, it sucks. Anyway, I will get that to you Monday, though, because there is no time off. There is no stop in video game production. You can monetize a hate video, but there is no hazard pay for harassment. And we are not, you know, despite what you may have heard, so moneyed that we can just take a break or take a vacation and chill. So,
all right. Again, the assumption is that the haters are monetizing these people. Like, if you make a video about them, you're the one actually making money. I just no. I'm sorry. You're trying to be a victim of other people having opinions now.
So by day we worked, and meanwhile, all around us, the noise continues. And this is here because I remember one evening I was coming home and I was like, all right, I've dealt with too much today. I'm just going to relax by going to the Yakuza subreddit, which I have to say 99% of the...
Do you guys know that there's a Yakuza TV series coming? Like a Japanese-made live-action one?
Oh, wow.
I feel like I'm missing out. I feel like I should be playing Yakuza because I played the very first Yakuza on like PS1 or PS2 whenever it came out, and I enjoyed it. But I feel like I'm missing out because everyone I don't know. I feel like so there's a show coming out. That's just an aside.
The time is a wonderful space. It's very funny and the people are pretty nice. But not even thinking, I scrolled past a joke about Sweet Baby Inc. And the thing is, in service of this great subreddit, it was actually well-intentioned. It was not a joke intended to make fun of us. It was intended to make fun of the campaign. But the strangeness of it still, of it being everywhere, of it feeling inescapable, but meaning nothing in my day-to-day was too utterly bizarre. And beyond just having to mute a wonderful, wonderful safe place for myself, I also wanted to quit. I wanted to leave the company. I wanted to do something else. I'll tell you that running a self-funded business in a very...
As much as I think that I would like to see her quit, it would not change the company.
No.
Somebody as bad or worse will just take her place, and it'll just continue. So, I mean, as much as I could... Like, look, I want these people to live, like, lives, you know, and be able to, like, thrive. But I want them to be better people, and that requires them to be humble and take a look back at themselves and what they've done, and then have like a moment of self-examination. So, you know what? I was kind of a bitch. I think I'm gonna stop hating white people and men.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna stop.
Maybe, just maybe, if I change my approach, I'll change the response.
Yeah, I think her leaving wouldn't change anything. We'd just be talking about somebody else.
Very volatile industry is very hard on a good day, especially when you do something with us. But it's hard, let alone when like Elon Musk is like crawling bleary-eyed out of his money pit to tell us that we deserve to go broke. It's a disaster. But what happens when
I want to be rich, but I also hate the rich? The typical communist conundrum. I want to make money, but I don't like it when other people have money, especially when they have too much money, which is a term I can't really define because it's purely based on my feelings. I think you have too much, therefore I hate you for having too much. Even though Elon Musk, by the way, made his money making products that people like Kim Belair thought were necessary, like electric cars. He did more, like he said, like I think he was on, Elon Musk was on, I think it was like a WAF thing or something. And he basically like scolded everyone. He was like, I've done more for the environment than anybody else put together. And you're coming after me. And I think he's like realizing how ungrateful these people are. So. Anyway,
these people will eat their own.
Yeah, they will. They will all the time.
Is also that you realize all you have is each other. And you can maybe call it trauma bonding, but when there are no prizes and no funds and no vacations and as compensation, right? And the only thing you have on your plate is suddenly your widely derided work, you also start to make more space for each other. You start to recognize that the work will sometimes feel thankless, but that you still love it. And you love it, fortunately or unfortunately, because you get to do it together as a team. And for us, that means we're doing it as Sweet Baby Inc. What happens when you get harassed is that you forget who you are, but then you remember. We are writers, we are storytellers, we are narrative designers, we are creative.
You're so strong and brave. So stunning.
We love it so much, in fact, we'll do it even through the worst months of our lives, because our lives ultimately are about stories. And as I wrap up, I want to say that that's frustrating too, because it makes it really hard to talk about. There is an instinct, I think, in all of us, or at least a desire to tell a good story. And this whole thing, whatever it is,
but you don't know how to tell a good story, but you're bad at it.
You just know how to tell, brown people good, white people bad.
Yeah, this whole presentation is another story that they're telling. Yeah. That's why it has like all the way that it's written. It's super cringe. You forget, but then you remember.
Yep.
And it's like there should be like a swelling of strings, and like we're supposed to get all teary-eyed, and it's like, but you suck at your job. Like that's objectively. I'm sorry for being ultra rational man brain, and I'm gonna mansplain at you that you suck at your job. You don't understand.
This is 2 steps
stories.
removed from vaginal humor.
Yeah,
like Amy Schumer,
like the vagina monologues.
Yep.
That last one came out a bit fishy, but anyway, you just suck at what you do. I'm sorry. Like if you make something and you think it's great and then you share it with someone, they say, I don't like this. You're not a victim. You just need to improve.
Change the approach again,
Yeah, stop using Tumblr as your like measuring stick.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right.
Isn't a very good story. There's not much of an arc, and frankly, there is no resolution as yet.
Yeah, because you're not going to change.
Sometimes a story is just what happens. And what happens is...
Now, if you approach your storytelling from that perspective, that's why your story sucks. See, there could have been an arc if you changed. If you said, maybe these people have a point. If you humbled yourself. But you're not able to do that. All you can do is double down, double down, double down. And then that's why you say, it's not... It's it's the children who are wrong. Like that's all you have.
You get hurt, you feel bad, you get tired, you get scared, you get angry, you get sad, you get really, really good at Elden Ring.
All right, so she wrote 705 hours, 100%. I don't know what that means. Oh, 100% of the map? I'm not sure what that means down there.
Maybe she means that she got all the achievements.
Maybe, but I mean, like that screenshot could have come from anywhere. And honestly, you could like, if all you do in Elden Ring is summon people or get summoned in other people's worlds, you're not really doing much. I mean, maybe she did. I don't know. I'm playing Elden Ring. I haven't finished it yet. It's almost like I don't have as much spare time as you do, despite how busy you claim to be.
Right.
Isn't that weird? I haven't finished the DLC yet. Like,
Dude,
I know people have done. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I barely even had a chance to spend with the Great Rebellion because I've been balancing my workload between being sick and just kind of like all the other weird shit of the last couple of weeks. So it's like, and I am totally intending on getting that out and doing the thing, but like there's, where do you find the time when I'm in a chat room that never ends and I'm obligated and, responsible to that situation because, again, as I was saying, changing the approach. 8 weeks ago, and prior to that, even like we've been doing, this is show number 19. So we're like about 12 weeks in roughly to that we've been doing this. So about 3 months. And so, in the 3 months that we've been doing this as my mainstay, and then adding in the Discord server 7-8 weeks ago, it's all I can do to just kind of like keep up with my appointments and this and that, and I'll get around to some of that other stuff like when it's permissible, but like if I just focused on just making just YouTube videos in addition to what we're doing, I wouldn't have been on yesterday with Cabrutus. I wouldn't have 180 people in the Discord. Like I changed the approach and actually found a way to like make myself a little bit more viable as a creative entity in this space. And that's all I could ever tell this dumbass right here is that it's like, you fucked up, Billy. You ruined your opportunity in one area. Maybe you got to find a way to like transpose it or do anything to kind of like reshape the situation. And so I think maybe that's what this is like she's just going to do vagina monologues for like the rest of the time.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat said that this is a screenshot from her PS5 or a PS5 dashboard, which means she bought a PS5, so already like disqualified as gamer. But more than that, though, I think that this ending here is her saying, "Look, I have gamer cred. I did this thing, right?"
Right.
So that almost by itself rings untrue. Just the fact that you have to tell people, "I played." What's the game? It's almost like she was like, "Which game is the one that everyone finds that the most hardcore?" Oh, right. Elden Ring. Okay, that's the one I played. So. I mean, yeah. So anyway, Zeranx again with another Rumble rant. Another Rumble rant. Let me play this.
A hunter must hunt.
You must hunt. And he gives us another $2 and says AI is a threat to Belair. Tools are being made and released to make producing IPs constantly. I've been using AI art generators to produce characters I have in mind. I paid for a yearly sub. 2A, and it's like a part 1 out of 2, so I guess he's gonna send another one through. But yeah, anyway, what I'm saying is this is all just like, I have cred. This is the proof.
Yep.
Demonic Rebellion says if she streamed a game, it would have gotten more cred. Yeah, but she's not interested in actually earning. She's claiming that she deserves. People who say I deserve are essentially making a claim to entitlement. People who say I would like the opportunity to earn are the ones that deserve more of my respect. Xerix gives us $2 and continues. AI generator, and I'm working on themes for those characters. There's an animation program that allows a character rendered in DAZ 3D to be migrated over where you can animate it. Thank you, Xerix. Appreciate that. Nice. Yeah, that's great. I mean, yes, I know the tools are becoming more sophisticated, and people like this are becoming less and less necessary. In fact, I think that again, stories that are more interesting to women are totally fine with it. I just don't want them to be like forced into spaces that men already occupy, and it seems like that's what's happening. And that again brings me back to what I think is really going on. Is it's not about that. It's about tearing it all down. Xerix gave another Rumble rant. Thank you, Xerix. Again with that.
Purely cooperation.
And he gives us $2 and says, if I can do that with images I generate with AI into DAZ, Blender, or Maya and migrate it over to that animation program, I can make games, movies, and shows without woke crap. Well, good luck to you. I hope that you do. I'd be interested in consuming that. All right. Yeah, let's finish this clip off, and then we'll do some
cake.
Thank you. I'm great at it now. But after that, you get back to work.
And, show us your build. I want to see your build. But anyway, yeah, after that, you get back to work.
Because what happens when you get harassed is that you have to live with it, and they have to live with you. And so we'll see, I guess, what happens next.
Yeah, and what happened next? You shut down your website and turned it into like a brochure. And then like you also got rid of like, your loose cannons. So, that's what happened next. Your utter fucking failure, becoming more and more kind of ingrained in reality, but you become more and more delusional, and disconnected from the way things actually are, and instead just focus on the way they quote unquote ought to be.
Yep. Nothing will improve for her until she gets rid of this idea that meritocracy is useless or of no value, or worse, oppressive. So yeah, if you're not looking for the best, then guess what? You're just gonna keep failing. So anyway, hopefully, Norwegian Black Templar says, I recognize Solaire when I hear him. Praise the sun. That's right. That's right. I'm here for the jolly cooperation. All right. So we're gonna get into some cake. First, I want to, I don't know, this is like maybe good news, maybe, but here's a rumor. Henry Cavill's Warhammer 40,000 live-action project definitely not dead. A new rumor cropped up claiming that Henry Cavill's Warhammer 40,000 live-action project at Amazon MGM Studios is definitely not dead. YouTuber Mr. H Reviews responded to a recent rumor from fellow YouTuber Arch, who's Arch, if you don't know, he used to be called Arch Warhammer, and he used to do these lore videos, and then Games Workshop came after him, and they basically made it to where you could not use the name Arch Warhammer because for whatever reason they think they own the rights to the word Warhammer. But that is an aside. Games Workshop is totally paused, so I'm not defending them at all. But they are not necessarily the brand, I guess. Anyway, Arch claiming that both Games Workshop and Amazon were entirely content to let the project die. At the end of September, Arch claims, quote, it has been complete radio silence on the matter of the TV show ever since we had the last update the last time around. It appears as if both Amazon and Games Workshop are entirely content to just let the project die, honestly. He added, even with a 1 month extension into January, nothing seems to have been produced. Still no money is allocated. Still no accounts have been created. Still no contracts have been signed, etc., etc. As for why there is current radio silence and no movement, Arch shared, it may be that Games Workshop got a little bit uppity and decided to demand that their own authors be allowed to create the screenplay. Again, the Black Library authors are excellent book writers, but they have no business writing screenplays, and Amazon probably knows that, and Amazon probably knows it can't really afford another big flop here, he added. Arch then continued, right now, I would say that the probabilities lean more towards the entire thing being dead than ever being greenlit. YouTuber Mr. H Reviews responded to this rumor and shared some of his own inside knowledge on the matter and claimed the live-action project is definitely not dead. Speaking specifically to Arch's conclusion that the probabilities lean more towards the entire thing being dead than it ever being greenlit, Mr. H Reviews stated, I can say it's actually the inverse of that. He later stated, there's definitely been movement on it. Definitively movement like 100%. My eyes and ears say that there's definitely been some movement. Can't tell you exactly what or how much, but it's the complete opposite of what Arch is rumoring anyway. It's the complete opposite of that. It's definitely not dead, guys, he added. It's definitely not dead. He concluded saying, I can say with certainty there's been movement. It's like so repetitive. So the annual report, there was an annual report that said Games Workshop and Amazon are working together for a period of 12 months, ending in December of 2024. So that's the end of this year, to agree to creative guidelines for the films and television series to be developed by Amazon. The agreement will only proceed if the creative guidelines are mutually agreed between Games Workshop and Amazon. We will update you accordingly. So basically, in short, the rumor is that it's a little bit of conflict. Mr. H Reviews is saying that it's not dead. That may be true, and I don't know how I feel about it. Like it's I guess it's, for me, it's like, okay, Amazon gave us a lot of garbage, but at the end of the day, they just kind of fund things, and I don't think they want to lose more money on a big failure like what happened with Rings of Power. So if they're going to do this right, the only way they could is to let only the most passionate people run it. And I think Henry Cavill has said in the past he would only do it if he was in charge. And I think that would be the best way forward if we really want it. So I don't know, Mr. H could be just like a culture junkie that just wants the product. And I think that I'm more, I don't know if that's true. So, don't hold it against me, Mr. H. I'm just wondering if that is a factor, because I understand how people can be when it comes to their treasured IPs or their treasured brands, that they're like willing to see that they might just be gone. But I think that if Henry Cavill holds to his principles, which I think he's pretty good about, like he literally just walked away from The Witcher when, he realized that they weren't going to be like working, trying to do what the books actually had in it. And he was like, well, I'm not doing this anymore. He also had criticisms of the way the Superman was written. So I think that he cares a lot about, being like true to the source material. So as long as he remains attached, then I'm hopeful, because it means that he doesn't see any problems yet, but we will see. I think it'd be nice. So don't forget Wheel of Prime. Yeah. NovaFan21 with the $1 Rumble Rant.
Thank you. Come again.
Says, I would love to make a troll game where it technically qualifies to them as diverse, but it's too far right for them to approve. Why is she mad? They said they wanted diversity. Yeah.
Right.
You make like a game where everyone's diverse, but they're all Nazis.
Or that's what I jokingly say is the only thing progressive politics has accomplished in 10 years is making fascism multicultural.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. So anyway, those are my thoughts on that. I don't know if you want to say anything about it.
No, I mean it's pretty straightforward at this point in time. Like I think that this is just like a reach to try to keep it in people's minds. The only way it's going to continue forward is without Henry Cavill attached to it. Because he's not gonna. He's already said he's not down for like the shit that they tried to sink into it. And so if they're gonna like try to hold on to their ability to make this thing, it's not gonna be with him, and without him, nobody's gonna give a shit about it. So.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, let's look at some games. I'm just gonna switch. Oh. You know what? We're almost out of time here, but there was some games that I saw advertising for. By the way, I'm gonna ask that you guys consider The Great Rebellion. I already played some of it. I interviewed the guys yesterday. It's a roguelike shooter. It's pretty fun. And
the story's great.
Yeah.
It's got a great sense of humor. Music is top-notch, phenomenal. I was given a free copy of the game, and full disclosure, because they wanted me to look at it and give a legitimate review. And I just told them as soon as I started playing it, I sent them a message like, "I'm going to buy your soundtrack." So I hope you don't mind.
You can buy the soundtrack as well. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
What's going on with my? Oh, here we go. There are a couple of games that I saw that look pretty interesting. I think I added one to my wish list. I want to see if I can find it. Then I'll bring it up on here. But let me share this tab so we can look at some sales numbers. So Homeworld 3, I brought that up first, is sitting not so pretty at 64 players in game. Yikes. Not so good. Helldivers 2 is at 38,978. I understand that they put out a video today announcing that they've made a number of other changes to the game. Like, so they've improved it in a couple of other ways. Like armor has been improved and things like
They're
this.
trying their redemption arc.
Yeah, they're trying to redeem themselves, which is a plus. So, what Norwegian Black Templar says, Brian, when is the next Blood stream? Probably Thursday or tomorrow. It's one of those. I might do it. I might do it tomorrow. But because I want to start playing Days Gone, just because I heard good things about it, and I have it. It was free on PlayStation Plus, so I was like, well, fuck it, might as well play it. So yeah, Helldivers 2 is on their redemption arc. Space Marine 2 is still doing well at 22,000. And the guys at Cult Games, they were telling me that they've been playing it a lot on the show yesterday. And I said, hey, we should do a co-op together. And they were like, yeah, let's do it. So I might do a stream with them, 3 players, and there's those 2 guys. So plus me, that should do it right there, right? Okay, so then we have Black Myth Wukong. So the numbers finally kind of dipped a bit. Only 72,000 people playing it. So that's kind of interesting, right? But still, like it considering, you know, oh yeah, right. Here's the one I was thinking about. But I'll come back to it in a second. So yeah, Black Myth Wukong, and then of course Concord still at 0, even though they are doing stuff behind the scenes. And I wanted to show you this game that I saw that looked pretty good. It was I think I watched a video that was like, if you like Sifu, you know, you would like this. You would like this game as well. And the game is called On Guard, and it is a swashbuckling action game. And you know what? I was like, this sounds really interesting. So here it is, On Guard. I will play the trailer. Let me just turn the volume on so you guys can hear it. Hold on a second. I gotta like change the scenes. Now,
People say I'm a troublemaker. Adelante! Your guard's open.
Fight with panache.
Impressive.
Thrilling adventure.
Keep an eye on Doña Volador.
Zaida, nice to see you too, Princessa. Why are you wearing a mask?
They're just terribly comfortable.
Call the guards!
We are the guards!
Here's for you. I can do this all day.
My plan will give this kingdom unparalleled greatness!
No challenge can stand up to Adalia de Volador.
These are the tales of Adalia, first blade of the Volador.
Nice.
Now remember, the most important thing is to never stand directly in front of the...
So yeah. That is On Guard. Doesn't look bad in my opinion. Sorry, wrong screen. And it is $20. So just a fun little action game. Has supposedly a really great combat system. You know, like Sifu looks like the Batman Arkham games and when the action happens. But the Batman Arkham games play a little bit more like the Assassin's Creed games, where it's like you get surrounded by guys and then you get button prompts to counter them and attack them. Now they can be fun, but the Sifu is a lot more like, you know, you're more in control of the action, so you have to be more like you have to pay more attention. So it's not like you just, you know, guy come, press button, counter, hit, knock him out, move on.
It's like the old Arkham games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what that. Yeah, it's but it's not quite like that because I think the Sifu's combat system is more complex. It's more rewarding, but it's more challenging. The Batman stuff is a bit more of a power fantasy, which is fine. Like I said, I think those games are great. And they do add more complexity because like later in the Batman games, you get guys that use different kinds of weapons and you can't use certain defenses against them. But this On Guard looks pretty good. Again, it is a smaller game, smaller studio, Fireplace Games. And they have a couple games on their, well, not a lot. They have On Guard and a game called, well, that's it. They have On Guard. That's their game. So, you know, kind of a small dev. So, all right. We gotta end it here. But do you have anything that you wanted to share before we close it out?
So tomorrow I'll be with Tomby on the Chinwag, and then health permitting, I will be helping Ryan Roger Thay do Rising Stars. And then you know, other than that, I will just I'll be back on Will of the Fans on Thursday, and then you know, reality based the Tangent Kings on Friday. If he hits the money goal, I'll be on with Neon Leon, and then of course we'll be up again on Saturday. And so that's kind of my next couple days.
All right. Well, I'm gonna end the show there. Thanks, guys, for joining us. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Thank you for those who came on the stream and hung out. Thank you for those who subscribed so much. And thank you a lot for all of your little, contributions, I guess. I don't know. I guess you're not supposed to say certain words when it refers to super chats and stuff. So I would say thanks for the support. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on the show. If you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you guys think about.
Yeah, let us know how you feel about the show format today. Like, is this something that you're cool with?
Yeah, do you
like,
prefer the real life cameras and the little Robo Vivian? Let us know, and also I'll have Vivian say goodbye if this works.
Right,
Vivian, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. How can I assist you today, Vivian?
No, you're Vivian. Okay, say goodbye to everybody, please. It didn't work.
Yeah,
say goodbye to everybody, please.
Goodbye.
We'll have to have a conversation
everybody.
with her after the show.
It was great interacting with you all.
Surly.
If you have any more questions in the future, feel free to ask. Take care and have a wonderful day.
You are an icon.
We'll work on it.
Happy.
We'll work on it. All right. Well, anyway, thanks so much for coming on the stream. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and we'll talk to you guys in the next one. Long live Vivian in whatever form she might take.
With the glass ceiling broken, all the oppressed groups shall prosper, especially the most oppressed group of all, gamers.
I want people in the industry to be a little bit louder about people being mean to other people, and maybe say it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe say we don't want you around if you're going to be a cunt.
Yeah.
And hateful. And that the games industry is diverse naturally. Not because anyone's making them be diverse. Because the world is diverse, you stupid motherfucker. And if you have a problem with that, come fight me. Physically. Bitch.
Has anyone taken you up on that yet?
No, because they're all pussies.
Yep.
Down here, salt is a way of life.
Obviously, the environment down here is all salt. The ceiling's salt, the floor is salt, the walls are salt, and to an extent, the air is salt. And you breathe that in, and you can constantly taste the salt.